Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Mr. Best Predict. In today's particular video, I'm going to be taking you guys through the journey of how you can make use of the basketball over and under point betting strategy. But basically, in this particular video, I'll be focusing on over points, and that is the strategy that I'll be using to pick some games in this particular videos. Actually, please before we move on in this particular video and the process of picking the basketball over points, please, I want to advise you people that if you want to stake, make sure that you stake with amount that you can afford to lose, because please, I want us to embrace responsible gambling. And actually, there is no strategy that is always 100% sure. It can be that the moment that you are trying to put your live investment in a particular ticket, and that is when the ticket will cut, you can see this is a consistent winning. But however, no matter how you are going to be having a consistent winning, surely there is a particular game that will surely cut your ticket. So please always engage in responsible gambling, please guys. Please, as you can see, this is yesterday game, and it happens in betting. So that is why we always advise people that they should always stick with amounts that they can afford to lose. Now let us move on to our selection. So currently we don't always have enough games to predict on football, because the international tournament has not begun, and even staking on international games, I don't always support that idea. Now let us move on to selecting today's game. Okay, now we have few games on basketball for today's in total. So let us see which one we can select on. So the first thing I'll be doing is that I'll be checking the form of these teams. If they are in form, I will avoid them, and if they are not in form, if they are in form, I will play them, and if they are not in form, I will avoid them. So currently, the home team and the away team in this particular start, both of them are really in form. At least the home team is 100% and the away team is 60%. So let's check their previous games they've had together, and if we should look at it very well, we can see that they don't have a common, like they have a common range of outcome, and that is probably around 160. But let's say their lowest point they've had is at 147. Okay, so the range mostly is around 160, 170, like that. And so let's see their head-to-head new. So in this their head-to-head new, that is where we are going to be getting their last previous games that they've had with other teams, and we are going to observe the range of their points they've been having. So if you can see very well, most times the home team, the lowest points that they've had is around 82, and checking the away team, which is Fenerbahce, and their lowest points ranges around also um let's say 57. I think this one is under the Euros League, and 57. Okay, that is the reason why I said that anything happens in betting, and be always be careful with the way you are staking on games. So but surely we are going to try our best to make sure that we make profit than loss. Now this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be using the median method, and I'm going to pick a certain point out of all these figures. So guys, from this particular stats, I'll be picking just 2 points from all these things that I'm looking at. So the first point I'll be picking is the 97, and the second point I'll be picking is the 86, and these two figures is what I'm going to add for now. Now let us move on to the calculator aspect. So adding 97 plus 86 together, it gives 183. No, so now this is 183 that we are having in their head to head new, and we are moving on to their the last games that they've played against each other. So we're having 183 for now. Okay, so now let us check their previous games that they've had together. So in their previous games, I will also be picking just two figures, and we are going to add it together. So the smallest between these two is what we are going to consider as over point. So now guys, if we should check very well, if we should check very well, you can see that the common point for Fenerbahce happens to be 80, because checking it very well is 80. So I'm picking 80 from the side of Fenerbahce, and from the side of Anadolu I'm picking 82. So we are going to be adding these particular two figures together, and surely, obviously, it is giving us 162. Now, between 162 and 183, the obvious total point that is very small is 162. Don't forget, when we check the last 5 games for each team that they've had with other teams, we can see that the total figures that we got from there happens to be 183. And for the total figures that we are able to get in the matches that they've played against each other happens to be 162. So the 162, which happens to be the smallest, is what I'll be using, because I want to predict over. And predicting over, you have to go for something that you know that, okay, surely this particular games will come. That is a very small figures, in order to increase your probability of your outcome. Now we are having 162 as what we are going to be predict. Actually, that's not what I'll be predicting straight. It's just an insight, or let me say a guide, as an average total point that I can predict the games on. So as I'm having 162, what I will do is just that I will subtract like 10 from it, and I can just decide to predict the game as 162, just like that. Now the next thing that you just need to do is check the market if the bookmakers are providing 162. Now let's see. So fortunately, I'm having 162 here, and now let's assume that I want to subtract my 10 from it. The bookmakers are not providing it, but actually the subtraction that I mentioned, I said subtracting 10 from it. The subtraction that I mentioned is just like a way of, playing a safe games. Actually, I can decide to play over 161, over 160, over 159, over 158, over 157. Anything that is just below this over 162 is what I can predict. So now let us assume that I want to subtract 5 from it. Okay, let's say I want to go for over 158. So if you like, you can also go for over 155, depending on how safe you want your games to be. Now I'm moving on to the next prediction, and the question that I'm expecting people to be asking now is that, how am I able to pick or select all these figures that I'm adding together? We have different, all like we have the list of their results, and I'm just picking 2 points from it, 1 point from the home team and 1 point from the away team. So the question that's supposed to be in people's mind now is that, what are the factors that I'm considering before picking these particular figures? It is very simple. I'll make use of statistics method, like the median method, the middle number. Like, we have the smallest number, we have the highest point. So we have situation whereby they perform very well in their results. For example, if you check this particular game, you can see that here these people played 170, and if you check here, they played 162. If you check here, they played 147, and checking here, they played 173, and checking here, they played 161. You can see that their result and outcome is diverse when it comes to basketball, and that is the reason why you should not have it in mind that everything is always 100%. Anything happens. So what you just need to do is just to apply the median method, like to check the average, like the middle performance. Don't go for the highest point that they've had, don't go for the lowest point they've had, because if you go for the lowest point they've had, for example, let's say you want to go for predicting over 147 that they had here, you may be finding it hard to see games that you are going to select on. Actually, using that, your games will be saved. Like, you'll be having a safe game and high probability of winning the ticket, but it will be very hard for you to get the market that you want to predict on. So it's better to go for the middle. So now let us move on to the next games, and let's see what we'll be having there. So now, fortunately, these particular two teams too, they are in form. The home team is having 80% form, and the away team is also having 100% form. Now we are going to apply the same method and the same process of you know, of selecting our over point. So now let us first check the last 5 games that they've played against each other, and I'm going to pick the 2 points there as I did. So now before I move on, if you want to join our Telegram group, actually it is free. You are going to see it in the video description, the group link of our Telegram group, and you are also going to see it in the comment section. As you guys can see, I drop codes there, at least if not every time, once in a while, because I only drop codes in our VIP group every time, and most times I always take breaks too on our VIP group, depending on the trend and situation that is occurring, because there are some periods that you cannot always be winning the bookmakers. When the bookmakers are smiling, you just have to take a break. So but on our free Telegram group, once in a while I drop codes on it: basketball ticket, football first half over 0.5, because by tomorrow I'll be dropping first half over 0.5 goals ticket on this particular platform. So if you want to join us and access some of these particular predictions, you can also join our Telegram group. It is free. Our Telegram group is free, except for our WhatsApp VIP group that is paid for, and our YouTube membership that are paid for. But this particular Telegram group is free. You are going to see the link in the video description and also in the comment section. You can join for free. Join us and let's win together. So we drop basketball tickets, football tickets, and tennis and so on like that. So that's how it works. Now let us move on to our prediction and let's continue. So my people, in this particular aspect, I'll be picking just two figures. The first figures that I'll be picking now is the 75, and I'll be picking 80. So adding these particular two figures together, we are getting 155. Okay, this is my average point for both teams. So I'm picking 155. Now let us check. The their last previous games with other teams, and I'm going to pick. So don't forget, for their match that they've had against each other, the total figures that we're having there is 155. Now let's check here. So in this particular aspect too, that is their last previous game that they've had with other teams, I'll be picking two figures also. These two figures happens to be their uh medium point that they've had in the last 5 games. So I'm picking 92 for the home team, and I'm picking 87 for the away team, which is Milan. Adding these two together, you'll be getting 179. Okay, now between 155 and 179, which happens to be the smallest? Because let us check. So 155, it is obviously 155. We have 155 and 179. So we are picking 159 as our smallest average point, and that is what we are going to be predicting as over point. So don't forget, I told you guys that if you want to predict over point, you have to predict it from anything that is below your average total point that you've gotten. Now let's check the market. If the bookmakers will provide anything that is below, like started from maybe like 155, oh sorry, maybe like 154, I can go for over 154 or 153 and something like that. Now let's check. So fortunately, the bookmakers are providing us enough games to go on: over 146, 147, 148, 149, 150. So for me, let's say I want to subtract 5 from it, from that over 155, I'm going for over 150. Now let's go for it. So we are going for 150 at thought of 1.37. Now if you want to play safe, you are free to go for anything that is around this range, anything below, so you can go for it. Now let us move on to the last games, and if you can see another games, we are getting our shot towards with this simple basketball strategy. It's very simple, very simple. So let's check here. So now we have a situation like this, and I will always avoid you guys to run away from it. Though actually the strategy can work out on it, because looking at it, we're having 40% and we're having 80%. So looking at the 40% aspect, you can see that out of their last 5 games, they lost 3 games and won just 2. It shows a sign of not this particular start is not this particular form is not a good form from my own side. So I will just advise you guys to just skip it and let's check another thing. Okay, let's check from the German league. Okay, looking at the form from this particular German league side, we can see that both teams are having 60% form, and that shows that they won 3 games out of the last 5 games. Okay, it is manageable. We can go for that. Now let's follow the same steps that we'll be using. Out of the last 5 games, I'm going to be picking the middle points that they've had for each team, and that's what I will be adding up to. So let's pick our figures now. So I'm for Berlin, I'm picking the middle number of 84, and for the opponent, I'm also picking the middle number of 84. So adding 84 and 84 together, we are getting 168. So in their last 5 games that they've played against each other, we can see that we are able to get 168 for their average total point. Now let's check for their last previous games that they've had with other teams, and let's see what you can get there. So for the home team, I'm picking the average point of 86. So let us check the for the away team also. So for the away team, I'm picking 84. So now let us add 84 and 86 that the home team had together. The total that we can get from that happens to be 170. Now between 170 and 168, you can see that the range of their points is very close. So between these two particular range, I'm picking the smallest, and surely obviously I'll be picking 168 as the smallest to 170. Now let us check if the bookmakers will be providing anything that is below 168. Now let's see. So fortunately, the bookmakers are providing over, even the smallest point as over 151. But there's something I want you guys to know, that I told you guys earlier in this particular video that let's assume that I want to play safe. I always subtract 10 points from my average point. Let's assume I want to subtract 10 points from 168. Subtracting 10 points from 168, we are getting 158. So for this particular ticket, I would like to be going for over 158, as like I'm playing safe. But let's assume that I don't want to play safe, that I just want to play the average point that I got from it straight and direct. Imagine the odd will be around this 2 odd, 2.30 odd. So that's it. Sometimes with just one game, you can be getting 2 odd in basketball, but basketball sometimes cannot may not be consistent. So when you are realizing this, make sure that you take a break. I always take a break, and I always engage in responsible gambling. I stick with amount that I can afford to lose. Even if I'm winning consistently, when I realize that I'm losing, I always go, I always take a break, play for fun. And if I want to stake on games that I'm very well assured of, I always stake very low, because I can only afford to lose amounts that are low. So that's my own style. So please, I want you guys to embrace your own style through your skills, your mindset, and like that. So thanks for watching, guys. See you guys in the next video. I believe this particular video is informative and at least impact something new in you. Please, if you have any question, make sure that you ask in the comment section, and don't forget to join our Telegram group for daily prediction. See you guys in the next video. Bye.